Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome to episode number 26 of the Wulong Talks podcast. We are back. Yes, indeed, we are back. Hope you guys have been keeping yourselves well. We're all good. My name is Jason, and I'm the host of the show, as always. And tonight I'm joined by Big A, the Mad Geek. Big A, say what's up.
Good evening.
And unfortunately, we have no wrestling kid tonight. But don't worry, he'll be back on the next episode. So I know he's got his little fan base out there that love to hear him rattle over the microphone at the beginning of these shows. So don't worry, he's going to be back with us soon. So yep, he'll be back. Don't worry about a thing with that. All right. Alf, how you been, man? As I said, it's been a while, hasn't it, since we've done this
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
been a
thing?
while. A lot's gone on. I can never really quite remember as to what's gone on exactly. But I've, I've been watching Into the Badlands, which is a fucking wicked show. Love that. I can't wait for Game of Thrones to come back, which is back at the end of the week.
Mm,
And just yeah, man, just enjoying the movies that are coming out and all that. Yeah.
mm. Yeah, guys. I mean, as you know, listeners, it's been a while since we've recorded, and a lot has happened since we've been gone. So we're going to try and catch up with things over the coming weeks for a while. That includes doing a Spider-Man review. So for those of you curious about what we thought of the movie and what we liked and what we didn't like, then listen out for that. There'll be one coming up very soon. So we'll get to work on that as soon as possible. But yeah, there's been a lot, man. I should probably share with you my dirty secret. I mean, Alvin already knows this, but the listeners don't know. I actually went to go and see Transformers the last night.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, the less said about that, the better. I did do well. I was supposed to write a review, and I just kind of lost the will to write like halfway through it. But basically, it's up on the Wulong Talks website for our blog. So if you want to check that out, you can go to www.wulongtalks.com. And you can read my review slash rant about the Transformers franchise in general, because that's ultimately what the review became. But basically, if you like these movies, then you're in potluck because it's exactly the same as all the other ones that have gone before. So yeah, you'll have lots of fun with it. But for me, it was a big no. And I swear on previous episodes, I swore I wasn't going to watch it, but but there you go. I guess I'm a sucker for Transformers. So yeah, I ended up in the
Yeah, they
cinema
pulled you
watching
back
that.
in.
They did, man. They did. They pulled a Godfather on me and just pulled me back in, and that was the end of that. So yeah, it is what it is. But as I said, yeah, we've there's been a lot going on. The reason why we're doing tonight's podcast is I wanted to do another kind of anime refresher because we did our very first podcast on anime um, some some months ago now. I mean, pretty much last year. It was last year, wasn't it? We did it. It
I
was last
think
year.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, it was last year. So yeah, obviously a lot has changed in the world of anime since then, and there were a lot of movie adaptations coming up as well. So, us being kind of the guys that we are, we watch a lot of anime, but we also watch a lot of movies, as you know. So, the two worlds are converging, particularly in terms of Hollywood. Hollywood seems to be very interested in anime at the moment. So we're going to have a little chat about some of the news that's come out surrounding some of these things, and also give you some of our pitches for movies that we'd love to see, certainly anime adaptations that we'd like to see as well. So hopefully it will make for some good listening. But before we do that, we should probably mention that about 3 weeks ago now we had E3. Was it 3 weeks or 4 weeks out?
Yeah, it's about three. Yeah, about 3 weeks. Yeah. About this time 3 weeks ago. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, about 3 weeks ago, we had E3, the massive worldwide gaming event, which is designed for the manufacturers and for the developers to show their wares to the world. And um, Big A was able to cover some of that for us and to follow what was kind of going on. So Alf, in summary, what were the kind of like the big talking points to come out of E3, and was there anything that really kind of got you excited, basically?
Yeah, well, the big talking points from Microsoft was the Xbox One X, formerly known as Project Scorpio, which is a 4K gaming console. So it's an upgraded Xbox One with an X at the end, an additional X. And yeah, like I said, 4K. They call it a true 4K gaming console. with 30 frames per second. Some games it can achieve 60, but it still doesn't really beat the well, a 4K PC, which is actually pretty cheap to build, and just well, you'd have better quality games because you can optimize it fully on PC anyway. But it is a decent looking console. It's the smallest Xbox console there is currently, and the £500 price mark for me is it's a bit much. If I had like the spare cash, I'd definitely buy it, but you know, it's kind of worth it, but kind of not at the same time. But yeah, that was kind of like their main thing. Sony, it was really weird. It was a mixed bag. They showed some good games, but it's games that you already knew about for the most part. But look, like Uncharted, the new Uncharted looks good, and so does God of War as well. But other than that, it was Sony didn't seem to give a shit. I think they'd kind of blown their load the year before. So like they had pretty much nothing to show. I think they've got things down the line that are probably coming, which will probably look great. But yeah, their show was just like, it was pretty mediocre, especially for Sony as well, because they usually blow out the water, and that's hard for me to admit because I'm an Xbox guy as well. Nintendo, they just did that weird Treehouse Live thing stream, and I didn't even watch that, but like I heard there's a new Pokémon tournament coming out, and there's a new Metroid Prime 4, I believe, and some other crap. But it was just the whole E3 was a mixed bag. It wasn't great, but it wasn't shit. It was just kind of like, all right. And Ubisoft had a pretty good show. It wasn't full of cringe like it was normal years. And they got a game. There's an old game called Beyond Good and Evil, which came out time ago, and people wanted a sequel to it. They were going to do a sequel to it, and then they weren't going to do a sequel to it. And then at the end of the Ubisoft show this year, they announced Beyond Good and Evil 2, but it's a prequel, so I don't know why it's called 2. And like the developer was crying and all this business because he wanted to make the game for ages and all that, blah blah. Oh yeah, and the new Assassin's Creed looks dope as well, and it's set in Egypt. There's a wicked bit where fuck it, I was watching it because it was they showed it as part of the Xbox show, and like the guy was playing it and all that, and you've got this eagle, and if you want to kind of scan the environment to kind of like know where to go to like kill an individual or whatever, assassinate someone, like you can let the eagle off into the air, and like you'll be able to control the eagle so you can see everything because it's like the assassin and the eagle are like, it's his pet, so it can tell him as to where things are and all that kind of business. I thought that was one of the dopest things because I just wasn't expecting it at all. But yeah, new Assassin's Creed is pretty good. I'll probably wait for that. Obviously you had Star Wars Battlefront as well, which has a campaign this time, thank God, and you know, I'll probably get that at some point also. But yeah, like I said, a pretty mediocre show. There were some standout things, but it wasn't that great.
Mm, mm. Yeah, I mean, I struggled to kind of really follow the whole thing because it at times it felt like there was really nothing to get that excited about. There was lots of kind of hardware stuff, which was great, but there wasn't really much in the way of games. And the games that we did see, aside from maybe Assassin's Creed and Spider-Man, looked really cool.
Oh
Um,
yeah, Spider-Man. Yeah, that was probably the highlight of the Sony show actually. Spider-Man, seeing that.
and Crackdown, finally getting
Yeah,
another Crackdown sequel. That's
thank
pretty
God.
cool as well. Yeah, at last. But yeah, aside from that, it just felt like they really weren't that focused on uh, showing too much software at all. It was all about kind of the hardware, which I guess is fine if you're really into that side of the gaming world and you're really into the kind of tech side of things. But as an event, if E3 wants to kind of align itself in terms of spectacle with the likes of things that you get like San Diego Comic Con or the what's the name of the mobile phone event? I've forgotten the name of it now.
Mobile phone. I have no idea.
Yeah, there's a
I
big
had no
one.
idea it was like a mobile phone convention.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that shows you how far their penetration is. But yeah, they do have one in.
Jesus.
It's usually in Barcelona every year, I think it is.
Oh, I think I
Um,
know which one you're talking about.
yeah, yeah.
It's
But
kind of like
even
CES, but for phones, kind of that kind of
yeah,
thing.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
But even with that, I mean, there's even though as I said, the penetration isn't that deep with it, it's still more of a show in the sense that they realize that the entertainment factor is just as important as the announcements themselves. So that it's all about kind of sucking in, the audience to it. Whereas E3 is still kind of a little bit not sure whether it's a convention or it's just,
Mm.
an industry showcase, or it still seems to be kind of trying to work that out. So,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
transitioning, so it's becoming like you could buy tickets to go to it this year, whereas
Mm,
previously years it was just industry. Whereas I think it's evolving, I think it's changing, and you'll probably see more of a con vibe in the coming years.
mm, mm. Yeah, no doubt, man, no doubt. Well, listeners, before we get into the anime stuff as well, I should just let you know that I've finally got a PlayStation 4.
Have you?
After,
When did
yeah,
you get that?
God, when did I get it now? 2 weeks ago.
Is
So
that what you're
yeah,
playing Yakuza on the other day?
yeah, that's what I was playing it on, man.
Is it Yakuza Zero you've got?
Yes, indeed, sir. I
Oh
couldn't
my
let
gosh! All right, all right.
I
I
couldn't
didn't know.
let
Like,
Yakuza
I saw
Zero
the
slip me by.
picture, but I had no idea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's no way I could let it slip me by, man. So, yep,
Oh man.
Yakuza 4 is kicking off on my PS4 at the moment. I'm not doing any online play at the moment because A, I'm a bit tight and I don't really want to pay monthly to play online, and B, I'm antisocial as a gamer. I don't like playing with other people. But
Old school.
yeah, exactly. But that will probably change down the road, depending on what other games I pick up and stuff. So if there's any PS4 owners out there who are listening who can recommend some good games for me to pick up for somebody who's an antisocial gamer, then please let me know. I've also managed to get hold of a couple of games in the Steam sale as well. So I got
Hey.
Fez, which I'm struggling with Fez. Like I'm really struggling. Like I don't know why I'm struggling, but I'm struggling with it. It's a good game. It's a lot of fun,
Mm.
and especially for something that you can just kind of pick up and play. It's really cool. But yeah, man, I'm really really struggling with it. I got a Counter Strike as well,
Oh really?
which I haven't even cracked open yet. It's just sitting there on my laptop. I haven't even attempted to play it yet. And I got something else, and I've forgotten the name of it now. The name's completely forgotten, but it was another indie game anyway, because it was down to like sort of
Yeah.
£1.50 or something like that. So I was like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, I'll pick that up. But I have to say, man, the Steam thing is dope, like because it's
See,
yeah, it's so easy. Like you're
I've been
slowly
saying for
drawing me,
such a long time.
yeah, man, you're slowly drawing me over to the PC Master Race side because yeah, Steam is dope. Like it's so easy to pick up a game.
Yeah.
Dirt cheap, and the games are all pick up and play games. They're not games where you have to
There's
spend
always a
a lot
sale
of
on as
time,
well. There'll
Yeah,
be like a weekend sale as well. You know what I mean? So it's like, throughout the year, man. If you check it every now and again, and if you add games to your wish list, it'll tell you when they're on sale. That's when you pick it up for a cheap, man. For cheap, man. It's
mm,
PC gaming is so much cheaper than console gaming, but yeah, I'm glad you like seeing the light in it. It's like a religious experience.
it is, man. It is. It's a baptism for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get on to the anime chat anyway, because that's what this podcast is supposed to be
Mm.
about. So let's get down to it. So, one of the things that we wanted to talk about was the Cowboy Bebop news. So there was news that came out last month that a TV adaptation is actually in the planning. Now, those of you that know us will know that the name Wulong Talks comes, of course, from the TV show Cowboy Bebop. We love it, especially the Rustin Kid Richard. He like absolutely adores that show, and it is amazing that this show has remained so popular considering it ended, years ago. I think it ended in 2001 or something like that originally. So for it to end, so many years ago and still be within the popular consciousness today is testament to kind of how amazing that show is. So um, a movie adaptation has been, floating around Hollywood for years. It's been stuck in development hell. At one point, Keanu Reeves was attached to it, and then he wasn't. And different directors have come and gone, different writers have come and gone, and now we get this news that it's going to be a TV show. Now, when I heard that, I thought, okay, well, I can see kind of where a Cowboy Bebop TV show could work, especially on, with all the kind of streaming platforms that we have now, like Netflix and Amazon and Hulu and all of these different kind of things that are out there. There's no reason why a show like that can't work. I've also been watching American Gods, which I absolutely love as well. And American Gods has kind of shown me that nothing is, unfilmable. American Gods is a book that I believed you could never film at all, and yet they've managed to draw out, a solid narrative out of that, and characters, and make it make sense to people who are not familiar with that book at all. So, if they can do it with American Gods, there's no reason why they can't do it with Cowboy Bebop. Um, Alf, what were your thoughts when you saw that they were planning to do a TV show instead of a movie? Do you think the TV format is a good idea, or do you think they probably should have stuck with doing a movie instead?
My initial thoughts were, "What the fuck?" And and you know what? I was kind of like, because a lot of time when they adapt anime, they're like, "Oh, it's going to be a film. It's going to be a film." It doesn't always need to be a film to adapt something, and I do like the TV format, especially to how it is nowadays. Like if they're going to do like 10 episodes of it and say an hour long each, then like I think I'd be down for that. I prefer that because obviously they're not gonna they're not gonna do like 20-minute episodes like the anime because that's way too short for live action. But no, I was quietly surprised. I was kind of like, oh, that's interesting. I'm glad. I'm kind of glad they didn't do a movie just because if they blow it, that's it, no more. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Whereas if the TV series, if it's pretty decent, but yeah, for whatever reason they don't do a second season, at least you've got that 10 hours worth of entertainment, for example, and with some hit or miss episodes. But I think TV might be the better way to go because that way you can really get into the characters, you can introduce everyone, and just get to know kind of like the solar system as it is in Cowboy Bebop.
mm, mm. Yeah, I think that's the thing that I like the most about the idea of it being a TV show is the fact that you have time. If they take the kind of view that TV shows nowadays, especially a lot of these web series that are popping up, as said, on streaming sites. If you take the view that rather than being a network television show, which each episode has a beginning, middle, and end, and rather take the view that you're telling a story over you know 10, 12 episodes, then you can take your time to kind of explain a little bit about the characters. You can take your time to build the world and to familiarize people with space, as you said, and the solar system and the concepts behind the series, and that way you can do some justice to it. So, a TV series to me is a really really good way to go. Also, it helps to keep the cost down as well because, when this news came out, I was talking to Rich Kid, and we were saying, a TV series is a lot cheaper to make than a
Mm.
movie. So as you said, if you make a movie, you're talking about a $250 million movie, including marketing budget and all of that. If that flops, then that's it. You've lost money, and everybody just looking to pull the plug as fast as possible, to cut their losses. With a TV show, if one episode didn't quite work out, or even if you do like a season and the season doesn't quite work out, you can still say, okay, well, if there's enough of an interest around the series in spite of the flaws,
Mm.
then we can course correct. We can do another season and we can rectify the things that have gone wrong previously. So with a TV show, you've got that room to kind of maneuver creatively. And it also means you get the opportunity to cast actors in different parts that perhaps don't have to worry about, like, what the image has on their role, and things like that, and what how the role will affect their professional image going forward, because you can get people to commit to doing 2 or 3 seasons of something, and they don't come with any baggage as well. You can pick somebody who's not necessarily that well known. You can pick up and comers rather than having to go to established stars to carry this project because you're worried about who's going to be interested in it. So it gives them a lot more room for maneuver. So a TV show for me, I think it definitely works. All I will say is they have to do Ed and Ein right. Like, they have to
Yeah,
do them right, because them two characters for me, like, I love all the characters in the series. I do, and for different reasons. Spike, I love his kind of melancholy and his cool. He's that kind of almost classic, like a classic kind of 1950s, film noir kind of hero in the sense that he's,
Yeah.
he's at heart an honest guy, but he's had to do some dirty things to get by. Faye is an enigma wrapped in a mystery, and that's great. I love that. Jet is the kind of guy who's the world weary, detective who's kind of
Yeah. Well traveled.
tried to do right, but has probably seen too much shit in his life and has just got to a point where he's like, you know what, is it worth me still doing this? But Ed and Ein are, they're the heartbeat of that show. They're the ones who kind of inject the, often they're the ones who inject the humor. They're the ones who kind of provide the catalyst for things to happen within the story. So you have to get those two right. And I mean, the dog Einstein is going to be easy enough to do. One would think if you can get a trained beagle, and there should be plenty of them out there, then that's fine. But Ed, she's really tricky because it can go either way. You could get somebody who kind of overplays it a bit too much, and then it comes a bit cloying and cloying and annoying and a bit kind of it becomes tough basically to do it in a convincing way. So yeah, the casting really is going to be key. I mean, assuming that they greenlight this series and they go ahead with it, casting is really going to be key. But did I read somewhere that it was one of the X-Men writers who's involved in this, or did I get that wrong?
You know what? I actually don't. I think one of the X-Men writers was Zach Penn was involved with the Matrix reboot. I don't know if he's involved in this. I think he might be right because I kind of remember hearing something similar to that, but I'll have to double check.
Yeah, I'll have to double check that and find out for you listeners. I think there is one of the X-Men writers involved. But I know the opinion online has been mixed, as you would expect, because it's the internet. Nobody ever is in agreement on anything there. Some people have been quite positive about it, and others have been like, "No, Hollywood keeps fucking everything up. Stay away from it." So, in a word, good idea, bad idea, Alf.
I will say it's an okay idea. If they get it right, then it could be pretty good. I mean, if they take the heart of it, which is kind of like the music, the style, the character histories, and all that kind of stuff. If they take that and do their own thing with it, but it doesn't stray too far away, then yeah, I'm okay with that. If they kind of just take the concepts and just do some next kind of show that doesn't even have any of the jazz and blues music and all that kind of stuff and the beatboppy kind of 50s music, like the beatnik kind of thing, then now I'm out.
Mm, mm. I
Oh,
think
the writer is it's Chris Yost who wrote Thor.
that's it. Sorry, yeah, it's
That's who it
four.
is.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it wasn't X-Men. Thanks, Al. Yeah, so yeah, I mean that could be interesting. I mean, Chris Yost, I thought did a pretty good job with the four script. So yeah, it could work. For me, I think I'm like you. Really, I'm in a word, I'm yes, tentatively yes, I suppose, like
Mm.
kind of half thumbs up. Um, I think the TV idea definitely can work, but there's two people that have to be involved in this in some capacity: Shinichiro Watanabe and Yoko Kanno. If one
Yeah,
of those two is not involved, I don't know if I'm going to be like, I don't know if I'm going to be feeling it, to be honest. I mean,
I'd love for Yoko Kanno to do the music.
yeah, Watanabe can just be, a consultant. That's fine. He doesn't
Yeah,
have to be writing all the episodes and stuff, and and getting involved in directing and all of that. All of that, as long as he's there as a consultant, then I guess that would mean there'd be some kind of quality control. So we can expect there would be something more in line with kind of the vision that he delivered with the TV series, with the original animated series. So something like that. And Yoko Kanno, yeah, she sorry, but like dig up the seat belts and get
yeah.
it together, man. Because like otherwise, it's like you said, it's not going to work without that music. It has to be that. Because if you know Shinichiro Watanabe's work, music always plays a big part in any anime he does. Music is as much a character as any of the characters that he writes or creates. So there has to be that music there for it to work. So we shall wait and see. There's been no further announcements so far, so there's been no confirmation on anything. So we're kind of just speculating here, listeners, really. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens. So let's move on. That brings me swiftly on to another popular anime, which is, well, we definitely know we're getting because it's going to be out on Netflix very soon. And that is Death Note. There is actually a Hollywood live action movie that will be coming out on Netflix very soon. Is it out in August, Alvin? Do you remember? Or is it?
Yeah, I think it's around there.
I
It's
think
pretty soon.
Yeah, it's either August or September, if I remember. Please correct us if we're wrong, listeners. But I think it's sometime either around August or September that it's due to come out. They recently released another trailer for that as well. I don't know if you saw the most recent trailer. Oh,
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
yeah, okay. Because I watched it too, and Death Note is a show that I'm really, really passionate about. Like, I love that show. When I first saw it, I was, it was years ago, years and years ago when I was working in retail, and a friend of mine actually told me about it, and was like, "Yo, you need to watch this show, Death Note." And I was like, "What's that?" And I read the premise, and I was like, "Okay, it's kind of interesting, so let me check it out." And I watched it, and I was like, "Holy crap! This is like if Alfred Hitchcock had, had been on a plane that crash landed in Japan, and he was like, yeah, let me start writing movies, for a Japanese audience." Because that was what Death Note hit me with. I was like, the way these characters are all flipping like morally ambiguous, they're all kind of like bizarre. They've all got weird quirks. There's demons, there's murder, there's like conspiracy, there's plot twists galore. Like, I was like, this is just perfect. I love this, you know. So when they announced that we're doing a live action movie for Netflix, instead of Hollywood version, because there's been Japanese versions before, but we don't talk about those because boy, they're bad. They're bad. But so when they said they were doing one, I was, it piqued my interest. A lot of what I saw in the initial trailer, I was a bit like, I don't really know about this. It kind of felt like it was being made almost for the MTV generation. And I say the MTV generation because it didn't even feel like a film made for millennials. It felt like a film being made for an audience from 1992 to 1996. Like, it just,
True that, actually.
none of the characters felt modern in any way. And it was just really odd. The guy who's playing Light, I've forgotten his name now. His name escapes me, but um, he came across really like just as a wet blanket. He didn't have any kind of charisma or the kind of ego that Light has. I mean, for those of you listening who've watched the show, I mean, you'll know Light is a very, he's a borderline psychopath with a massive ego. um, and none of that came through in the trailer. And I don't know if they were trying to kind of hold things back for the movie and not trying to give away too much in the trailer, but it just, yeah, none of that worked for me at all. um, so anyway, we've got a new trailer that came out a couple of weeks ago as well, and this one actually gives us a bit of a glimpse at the Shinigami as well, and it also gives us a bit more of a kind of a glimpse into the world that they're trying to create. um, Alvin, did you see the second trailer first of all?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, what did you
Um, yeah. I mean, I know fuck all about Death Note. I've only heard of it in passing. Obviously, like seeing kind of images from it and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. It was just like, yeah, I just watched the trailer. I was like, oh, okay, this is what they're doing then. And then like I just read people's reactions to it, and they were fucking annoyed, man. They were pissed. So obviously, things have gotten wrong. I mean, the tone of it, like you said, it did seem like kind of like a pre-2000s kind of like teen movie, like proper MTV generation. Now that I think of it,
Mm.
I don't know what to make of it. I mean, I think I might just have to check it out just so I can like understand as to why people are freaking out about it. But I think most people are freaking out about it actually want kind of US money to fund kind of like a Japanese version,
Yeah.
live action version. But that's not how business works, man. That's not what they're gonna
No.
do. They're gonna just take the story and plop it in the US, and
Yep.
unfortunately, that's just how to do it. So there's no point in even people being angry about that. To be honest, I reckon like they should just see it and then make your judgments. But yeah, but to be fair though, because like people like yourself know the story that well and how everything's supposed to be. If the tone is off, the tone is off.
Mm, mm. Yeah, I mean that's just what it felt like to me, especially when I watched the second trailer. One thing that they did in the trailer is they kind of emphasized action a bit more, um,
Mm.
which I guess is good if you're not familiar with Death Note at all. It makes sense to kind of give a sense that there's a lot of dramatic kind of things going on and big set pieces, but really that's not the appeal of the anime. The anime really doesn't have any kind of big set pieces at all. In fact, it's the appeal of the anime was the fact that it was kind of a mental chess battle. It was a game of cat and mouse, as said, between uh, the investigator, L, and the criminal Light, and it was how that kind of played out with all these other pieces on the chess table, who were basically other people, and how they were maneuvering these pieces around to try and catch one or the other. That was really kind of the big appeal. And then obviously you had Ryuk, who's the Shinigami, um, who is the catalyst for the whole series. Basically, for those that don't know, um, Ryuk is I guess he's like an angel of death. Is a way of kind of explaining it. A death god, I guess, is how they refer to it in Japanese. So he's like this god who lives in the underworld, and basically he's bored of being in the underworld and wants to have a little bit of fun. So he takes this thing called a death note and drops it into the human world to see what will happen. And then Light, this student called Light Yagami, finds the Death Note and discovers what the Death Note's power is, and the fact that if he writes somebody's name in that, they'll die, and then he can manipulate how they die and when they die and all of these kind of things. Um, so you get a bit, you get a little bit of Ryuk in the trailer for the live action movie as well. And I have to say, it is a stroke of genius that they got Willem Dafoe to do his voice. That's
Yeah,
brilliant.
that was
That's
dope.
absolutely brilliant. Like stroke of genius. Because if you ever, kind of uh, watch the original anime, um, the Japanese actor who does his voice really kind of sounds like Willem Dafoe. So, he really was the logical choice for this character. So for them to get him is a big coup. So kudos to them for that. L is being played by Lakeith Stansfield, who was in Get Out, who's a black actor. Um, Not a
And
lot of
people are
people were,
pissed about that.
yeah, not a lot of people were happy about that. But as you rightly said, Alv, if they're gonna do an American version of it, then
Mm.
one shouldn't be surprised that L is not Japanese, as he is
Yeah,
in the original anime. Um, that also opened up the whole debate around whitewashing and the character of Light as well being played by a white actor. My take on it was I wasn't really happy that they'd gone with a white actor for the role, but if you accept, as you said, that this is an American version, then I guess you could kind of explain it away in that way. Although there are plenty of Asian American actors out there who could have taken the role, and you could have still kept it American. But there you go. Um, but the whole kind of tone was the problem for me, really. As you said, the tone fell off. It didn't feel like I was going to get that kind of that psychological thriller that Death Note is. It felt like kind of an action movie for the teen generation. So yeah, I was very disappointed with the live action trailer, really, as you can tell, listeners. So I don't know. Again, it's another one we'll just have to wait and see, really, what they dish up for it. But Alv, as somebody not familiar with Death Note, would you be curious in it based on those two trailers that you've seen?
To be honest, no, not really. I mean, from what you said, it's more kind of like a psychological kind of thing, like with a much kind of like slower, introspective kind of pace going onto it. Whereas that, I don't know, there's just something about it that originally I thought it was going to be a TV show. I didn't know it was going to be a film. But I don't know. There's that trailer doesn't make me want to watch it.
Mm,
It makes the only reason I want to watch it is so I can see other people's reactions to it.
mm,
You know what I mean? So I know as to what they're referring to when they say they didn't like this, that, and the other, and blah blah. But other than that, I literally have no interest, unfortunately.
mm, mm. Yeah, I do wonder how much it's going to appeal to people who aren't already familiar with Death Note. I really do. It's not that it was necessarily a bad choice for an adaptation. I think it's a great choice for an adaptation, as said, because of the fact that it's so eminently, filmic in the way that in the way that the original anime is presented. So I don't think it's a problem that they did that. I think it's just the execution may be an issue. But again, all we can do is wait and see. The show, I believe, I said is going to be out in September. So we'll have a look
Oh,
then.
it's August 25th.
Oh, it's August, right? Okay.
Yeah, it is August 25th. Yeah.
Oh, holy crap! Isn't that like the week after the Defenders comes out?
Yeah, it is. Because that's the
Oh,
18th, isn't it?
yeah, because the Defenders
Yeah,
is
it's
like
literally a week after. Yeah.
it's literally a week after. Okay. Yeah, Netflix trying to own the summer, boy.
I know, yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, we've not got long to wait, I guess. So we'll find out pretty soon how that shapes up to be. But yeah, listeners, let us know if you're Death Note fans and what you think of the movie and what you've seen of the trailer so far. Are you excited? Are you interested? Do you think they're whitewashing the whole thing? What's your take? Let us know. I'll let you know how to get in touch with us at the end of the show. All right, well, that brings us on to us talking about our choices, really, because as we said, at the top of the show, anime is kind of the thing that Hollywood is turning to at the moment for ideas, because Hollywood always runs out of ideas. That's why they do so many remakes. So anime seems to be the thing at the moment that's fallen under the spotlight. And we have a number of different kind of adaptations that are coming up or are being talked about. Akira is still in development hell. I mean, that's been in
Fucking
development
no,
hell
stop.
for
Don't ever do it.
that's been in development hell for what, 20
And I
years
hope it
now?
remains there. I hope it remains there. Because look, they don't fucking all these like all the little bits that you've heard from it and all that kind of business. It's just you just know they're just going to turn it into an action flick, and
Mm,
it's so much deeper than that.
yeah,
It's so much more complex. Like there's political stuff going on with like what's going on in society and all that kind of business. They'll never get it right. They'll never get it right, no matter what they do. They'll never get it right. The only way it's right is in graphic novel form and the anime that we've already got. That's it.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Sorry, I just feel really passionate about that. So I just had to get that out. But yeah, sorry. Yeah, I interrupted. Sorry, you were saying.
No, no, no. That's that. I mean, yeah, Akira is one of those again. It's so as Alvin demonstrated, it's so beloved. It's really tricky to pull that off. Really tricky, and if you don't get talent involved that is number one, a big fan of the original anime, and number two is well versed in the complexity of that anime and the different kind of issues that it's dealing with, then that can be a horrible, horrible movie. I mean, Alf, you and I don't think we ever got to talk on the podcast about Ghost in the Shell, but we both saw that
Yeah.
movie as well. My take was, I mean, I don't know Ghost in the Shell as well as you do, so I'll let you have more to say on this. But my take was, as somebody who is kind of familiar with it and has seen some of it felt a little bit stripped down, I guess, which is always going to be the way, because it's a movie and you're trying to make a movie of something that's very, very dense. I mean, yeah, I know there were you know different anime movies as well, as opposed to an ongoing series as such. But it's so dense that you you kind of need time to tell like all of the details and to explore kind of all of the issues about, politics and existentialism, and and understanding our place in the world and what makes us human and all of these kind of things. And it felt like the movie kind of just skated across the top of it and didn't really try to go too far down the road because it was trying to make a Hollywood action movie. So what was your take on Ghost in the Shell? Did you find that as well, or did you find it interesting?
It was quite difficult because like essentially what you said is 100% correct. The movie is very shallow. Instead of trying to do their own thing like standalone complex on a rise, and obviously the movie as well, they all kind of based everything that they did on the manga,
Mm,
and then they went from there with their own thing and turned Ghost in the Shell into their own thing, because that first anime that we've got, that isn't actually anything like what the manga is like. It's very different, although they have borrowed story elements from it and created a wicked story around it. Whereas this film just tried to copy that first 95 anime, man. And that was a mistake, because even on the fact that it's only like 80 or 90 minutes long, like this movie's super deep. It's like that cool, hard, cerebral sci-fi. You know what I mean? Whereas with this, anything that was smart and intelligent, they obviously stripped away, and they just replaced it with we've taken your identity. You're not who you think you are.
mm,
Discover who you are movie. You know what I mean? That's what they did, and that's a fucking shame, because the movie looked good. There was great production design in there, and actually there was some pretty decent performances. The guy who played Bato was like on point. It was exactly like Bato from the movies,
mm,
from the 95 movie especially. But yeah, it just wasn't. It was nothing. It was lukewarm. It was like having like a slightly cold coffee. Like it was all right. You know what I mean? But overall, it was just a bit shit. And it's because they didn't the source material and then do their own thing with it.
mm,
They looked at a seminal, a wicked, like fucking held up their anime film, and kind of tried to do a live action, a dumb version of that. It's like, what? Why? Why did you do that? Like, they even had the scene with the tank and all that. That scene with the fucking multi-ped tank in the towards the end of the movie, and that is such a great fucking scene, and the juxtaposition of the music, it's almost like godlike and all that kind of business, and like where she's trying to rip the top of the tank off. It's an amazing scene in animation. When they did that in the film, fucking it lasted like 10 seconds and it was bullshit. It was just fucking boring. I was just like, because I was like, yes, the tank, maybe this will finally get good, and it just didn't. And also they literally whitewashed Matoka Kusanagi. Like in that film, she was an Asian woman.
mm.
Obviously the tucker made her think she was white. And then when she goes to visit her mum, but yeah, I'm digressing. But yeah, fucking like literally everything about it was it just wasn't right. I mean, I wouldn't be offended if they did a sequel and corrected things, but that's not going to happen. This is the only Ghost in the Shell film that's going to be for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, they need to look at the source material, look at the manga. If the manga is the first thing that there was, look at that. And then decide as to what elements you want to take and adapt it. That's what they need to do with Akira, but I don't think they've figured that out yet.
No, no chance. I don't think they're going to get anywhere close to that with Akira, unfortunately. But
Thank
yeah,
God.
they're going to keep trying, though. They're going to keep trying. 'Cause
Yeah, did I answer your question? I don't know if I answered your question. I just feel like I ranted.
oh no, 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 totally, totally, man.
All right, okay. Oh man.
No, you made your point. You made your point. But yeah, no, you're right. I mean, yeah, in terms of Ghost of the Shell, I mean, I can't disagree with anything you said. Really, it kind of left me with the same kind of feelings. And yeah, that is what worries me about Akira, really, and how they're going to handle it. I know that they were speaking to Jordan Peele, who's the writer and director of Get Out, and from the Keen Peele comedy show. Um, but apparently, he kind of turned it down. I think he did have a meeting with them, but he turned it down because he
Smart choice, man.
officially officially he said, he didn't really feel like he wanted to do like a big studio movie at this point. He still wants to kind of tell his own stories. But I reckon he probably went in there and was like, yeah, I'd love to do like a kind of political kind of thriller. And they were like, no, man, we want an action movie with explosions. Like, and he was like, okay, peace. And kicked out. So yeah, we'll wait and see what happens with Akira. But we have got a few ideas of our own. Well, I definitely have got two ideas of my own for movies that they can make in Hollywood and not fuck up. So, and we asked you, our listeners, to come up with some ideas as well. So we've got a few of those we're going to go through. But firstly, yeah, let's jump to ours, man. So, Alf, is there any kind of anime out there right now, whether it be a new one or a slightly older one, that you think that Hollywood could adapt and adapt reasonably successfully? And if so, like, how would you kind of pitch it to them? Hello, you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah, that dropped out for a second, didn't it?
Sorry,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
you dropped out for a
if
sec.
I was going to adapt, if I was going to adapt an anime, kind of like a recent anime, it'd be Boku no Hero Academia, My Hero Academia, just because it's superheroes and it's very action packed. And if Hollywood can do anything right, I think that literally they'd do it 100% justice. Well, hopefully they would, especially if I was involved with it. It would get done properly. It would get done right, and I think it could make quite like an interesting film because all the heroes are kind of out there, and it's pretty light-hearted. It's kind of almost family-friendly in a way, but it'd probably end up being a PG-13, 12A anyway. But yeah, that would definitely be a show. I think that you could translate well to kind of Western audiences, especially because one of the main characters in it, a hero called All Might, is I'm pretty sure he's gonna be like an American because he says things like Detroit Smash when he punches
Right,
things.
right.
So like yeah, I can't see any reasons to why you couldn't like set that in America and do something pretty decent with it.
Mm, mm. Okay, cool. Yeah, I've not actually watched that. That's one of like many that have passed me by recently. There's quite a lot of new ones that have come out that have just completely passed me by. I mean, like the only thing I've been like super invested in at the moment is Attack on Titan.
Yeah,
By
oh
the
my
way,
god, yeah. Did
listeners,
you see the last episode? Did
oh, it was so
you
dope.
see the second to last
So
episode?
dope.
Commander Irwin, fucking
Yeah.
badass.
Oh my god.
It's
Not
so
watched
good.
Attack on Titan season two, what the fuck are you waiting for? Go and watch it now. It's
Yeah,
amazing, amazing. Like that is a series I would love Hollywood to do, but then at the same time, I wouldn't want them to do it. I just want them to fund it, if you know what I mean. To like
yeah,
to give
yeah. I know what you
the
mean.
funding so you could get their visual effects. Because I saw the Attack on Titan live action movie, and it's a game attempt, but the Japanese just don't have the access to the technology
For
that
the
Hollywood
budget.
has. So they couldn't really deliver the action scenes in the way that the animated series does. But yeah, my God, Attack on Titan, oof, season two, go and watch it. Go and watch it, listeners. Don't waste time. Go and watch it. But yeah, for my choices for movies, I came up with two. The first one is a really old school one. This one is called GTO, aka Great Teacher Onizuka. For those who've never heard of that before, basically it's a comedy series and it's a bawdy comedy, as in like it's a very raunchy, very non PC, very non PG comedy. It's about a teacher, well, a guy who's training to be a teacher. He's a reformed or slightly reformed motorcycle gang member from Japan, who decides he wants to become a teacher and takes this crash course in on the job training at a high school. Part of the reason why he does it is because he seems to think that he's just going to get lots and lots of hot teenage girls, but also because he
What?
wants something to do. Now, I told you this thing is not PC at all.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why I picked it is because if you look at like kind of the success of things like Eastbound and Down and um, similar kind of shows in that vein, American comedy shows in that vein, they're very. There's clearly an audience for that type of a character that just kind of says what people are scared to say and really doesn't give a fuck, but is also kind of stupid. So you can laugh at their stupidity as well because they will generally do something idiotic that will get them into some kind of position that they didn't have to be in. So GTO for me is something that can definitely work as an American adaptation because it's the premise is so simple, and because it's it's just that kind of, as said, that kind of very very close to the edge humor that works very well and translates very well across the world. Really, everybody can laugh at fart jokes. It's a universal thing. Like, so it doesn't require anything to be changed, so to speak. How you get away with a teacher who wants to chase teenage girls, I don't know. Like, in this day and age, you're probably going to have some problems. But then at the same time, as said, if you're prepared to go like all out and just say, you know what, this is a non PC comedy that basically is just going to be like, yeah, we're going to throw enough shit at the wall and see what sticks, then it can work. So yeah, GTO was one of my choices, and the other one is Black Lagoon. Black Lagoon I picked out because it's again very very easy to kind of translate it. But for those who don't know, Black Lagoon is an action series. It basically is set somewhere in the very near future, and it's essentially a group of modern day pirates who are gun runners, who are smugglers, who perform like a number of odd jobs. If you think of like the 18 but on water, that's essentially what the cast of Black Lagoon are, basically. So that's effectively what they are, and they just do kind of do, as said, various kind of odd jobs for various criminal backgrounds. They have a relationship with a Russian gangster who is like just one of the hottest characters I've ever seen in my life. She's got an eye patch and a scar on her face. I don't know what it is about a woman with a like scar on her face that does it for me, but jeez. But
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
so Black Lagoon is like I said, an action series, and it kind of centers partly around a character called Rock, who's a Japanese businessman who's very kind of straight laced and kind of doesn't, very much a career man, or is trying to build his career in the finance sector, and he gets kidnapped by the crew of the Black Lagoon. And amongst them is this gunslinger called Revi. She's also known as Revi Two Hands because she always has these twin automatics that she carries on each side of her waist. And basically, it's like watching a John Woo movie in anime. That's essentially what it is. It's loads of slow mo, it's loads of two guns, three guns, four guns, five guns being fired. It's massive body counts. It's morally ambiguous characters. It's Revi saying fuck every so often. It's like I said, balls to the wall kind of action. So I think it could really work as a kind of movie, and especially seeing how something like John Wick has been so successful, where they've been able to kind of build a story that's very simple, didn't require lots of kind of background and lots of kind of world building and things like that to work, but with cool action scenes. If you imagine that, then that's kind of what I would imagine in my head a Black Lagoon movie would look like. So yeah, definitely go for that. So, what do you think, Alf? Any of those working for you?
Uh, Wait, so Black, I kind of want to see that GTO one just because it's weird.
Just
It's
because it's
very, it's
insane, yeah.
yeah,
It
it's
is
very
insane.
Japanese sounding. Like, you know how to do that kind of like, just like one of those kind of things with boobs in it and all that kind of
Yeah,
business. You're
yeah.
just like, what? But the
It's
show actually turns out to be
it,
pretty good.
it's sleazy as hell, but the show is actually
Yeah.
really really good. Like the funny thing is, on the surface, it's all about the sleaze, but underneath that, there's actually a very serious story they're telling about kind of
Mm,
responsibility and understanding, teenagers and the difficulties that they can go through, and how sometimes adults just kind of dismiss the things that the teenagers are dealing with, and um, people kind of trying to find their place in the world, and all of those kind of things. So there's a lot going on, but on the surface, it's yeah, it's perverted on the surface.
yeah.
So yeah, that can work. That can work. But Black Lagoon, have you seen Black Lagoon, the anime, before?
No, I've never seen it. It's again, it's one of those things I've heard in passing, but you described it as the A team in on water, which is pretty fucking, which is pretty hilarious to be honest. So, I mean, there's so much anime that hopefully, like, a bit. Well, you can't check out everything, but hopefully, some of those I'll be able to check out at some point. It's just no fucking time. I'll have to wait until I retire or some shit.
Yeah, that's the problem I have with anime, man. There's just so much of it out there. It's just
Yeah.
like crazy. Like it's absolutely crazy. I've recently started getting into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which is, speaking of weird, it's just it like I still can't really explain it to you. Like Alf, I couldn't,
Mm.
like if you're trying to ask me what it's about, I
I've
can't
heard people say about it.
really say what it's about, but it's bright and it's funny and like there's action. So okay, great, I'm in. But yeah, there's a Japanese live action movie that's due on the way. There was a trailer for that released as well, and the trailer I thought was pretty good. It kind of it's gone like right back to the beginning of the story from what I've understand, because for people who know the character very well, there's a way back in the beginning where things kind of start to kick off, and then I'm kind of joined it in the middle really. Once certain characters have been established and things like that, but yeah, that's coming out soon in Japan as well. So I imagine if that's
Sorry, what's
successful,
coming out?
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure,
Oh, right, there's a live
the
action
live
version of
action,
that coming
yeah,
out.
yeah, the live action version.
Oh, right.
So yeah, we'll see. I'll probably try and hunt that down and have a watch of that and see how that is. But yeah, let's, as I said, we open this out to you guys, the listeners, and you guys have been inundating us with your recommendations, which has been brilliant. So thank you very much to everybody. I'm going to do some quick big ups alongside some of these as well. Um, so first of all, big up to David. He said he would like Samurai Champloo, and he would like that as a live action TV show. I think that could work. Could work potentially.
Mm.
Could work. It'd be a tough sell for the American audience because I don't know how much they really mess with samurai in America unless it's Tom Cruise. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, big up to you, David. Oh yeah, he also suggested Vampire Hunter D as well. But again, tough sell. I'd have to say tough sell. I mean,
For the horror kit, it'd be all right, wouldn't it?
yeah, I mean, I guess it could work as a horror show. But I don't really trust them when it comes to that kind of horror show. To be honest, I
True,
really
yeah,
don't
it's very
trust them.
unique.
And yeah, and Vampire Hunter D is not aged well as well. I watched it the other day. I was like, Jesus Christ, I used to like this so much.
Yeah,
Like, it's not
I haven't
aged
watched it in
well at
years, but yeah,
all.
you're totally right.
Yeah, it's not aged well. Okay, but big up to David. Jerry, big up yourself as well. He said Blue Gender. I didn't know that one, so I had to look that one up.
I've seen a few episodes of Blue Gender, I think.
Yeah, any good?
Yeah, wait. From what I remember, it's about some guy who goes to sleep. He has an operation or something, and he wakes up and it's years later, and there's like loads of big bugs around and that, and like there's some woman who saves him, and he's like, "Oh, what's going on?" and blah blah. It was all right. It had a wicked theme tune, but it's just standard sci-fi fare, really. I don't get. Yeah. I'm looking at it now. Yeah, I remember this.
Cool.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It's all right. You can watch it on YouTube for free, I think, because the episodes are there legally.
Oh, right, cool. Okay, I'll hunt that down then. Yeah, give that a look. Cool. So yeah, thank you to Jerry for that. He also, oh no, sorry, this is Andrew. Big up to Andrew. He said Ninja Scroll, a Ninja Scroll movie. Could work. Yeah, I suppose
As
it could
long
work.
as it was as crazy as the actual
Yeah, exactly. It needs to be
the first movie. You know what I
as
mean? It needs to
insane
be
as the anime movie was. If it's not as insane
like
as that,
motherfuckers made out of rock and all that.
yeah. People with bees in their back and shit. It needs to be all that. Otherwise,
Yeah, all that shit.
yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't work, man. But yeah, big up Andrew. The Rustling Kid, he suggested Cyber City Oedo 808, which is old school.
yeah, man,
Old
proper. I remember
school.
seeing that on Channel 4 bare
Yeah.
years ago, and I didn't properly get to watch the whole thing until like literally I think about 2 or 3 years ago. Found it online and watched it. Man, that was like you said, old school, fucking old school, man.
Yeah, super old school. But I can see why I suggested that actually. I think that could work with a bit of tweaking for the modern day.
Yeah.
Big up to Yellow Rage Attacks. She said She gave us a couple actually. She said High School of the Dead, which I think is actually really could work, especially with the success of iZombie as well and things like that.
Mm.
High School of the Dead would be, yeah, it would be really easy to do. So yeah, that's a good shout. What else did she suggest? Rage of Bahamut Genesis, which I haven't seen before, but I believe is a horror show, so possibly could work. She also said Kami-sama Kiss, Corpse Party Tortured Souls, and Zetman. I don't know any of those. I haven't seen any of
Fucking
those.
hell.
But I'm sure the listeners are probably familiar with a few of these. So yeah, let us know what you think, and whether you think they would work. Big up to Gordon as well. He said, "Wow, another old school one, Three by Three Eyes. Remember that?
No, I've not heard of that one before. What's that?
Yeah,
What's
that
that
might even
about?
be before your time, man.
Probably.
It's bonkers, absolutely bonkers. Anybody who's over the age of 30 and listening to this will be nodding their head right now. Go, yep, 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 yep. I remember that. It was one of those that came out when you first had the UK manga brand established in the UK. So you remember like the brand manga
Okay.
UK.
Yeah.
They brought out like a whole slew of titles that had literally just come out in Japan, and Three by Three Eyes was one of them. It's uh, again, it's one of those that's so hard to sum up, but basically, it's aliens, it's telepathy, it's genetic mutation, it's all kind of stuff thrown into to one basically. So yeah, that's Three by Three Eyes. He also said a Crying Freeman remake, but I
Yay.
wouldn't want to do that, man, because we've still got like our
What,
good
the
old
Mark Dacascos
Mark
one?
the Cascos version, man. Come on, like proper, like there's
Fucking
proper
hell.
charm in that
Right.
movie, man. Like, but no, that would be, yeah, that's a good shout because it would be very very easy to do. It really
Yeah.
doesn't require a lot to do a Crime Free Man remake, and again, it will appeal to the action crowd if you do it the right way. So
Mm.
yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Big up to D Blue Guna as well. He said Berserker or Claymore. Berserker, I never really got on with, you know. I've got to give it another try because enough people keep recommending it to me, but I just never got on with it. Did you ever watch Berserker?
No, I didn't watch Berserker or Claymore, but again, it's another one of those that I've heard people mention. I've seen pictures of because I can view them in my head, but again, just never got around to checking it out.
Mm. Yeah, it's one of those. I'll have to make some time for it, I think. And big up to Christina Allegria Williams as well. She said Ronin Warriors, which is again another one I wasn't familiar with, but I had to look at it and I was like, yeah, that could work. So yeah, that's a good shout. And finally, big up to my boy Gilbino as well. He said Blue Exorcist, which I think would work as well. Because of the success of sort of things like iZombie and Supernatural and stuff like
Mm.
that. Blue Exorcist kind of fits into that vein. So yeah, that could work. That could definitely work. So cool. That was it, man. Those were our suggestions. Did any of those leap out at you, Alv, in terms of ones that you would definitely want to see live action? Or
You know what? Like, if they said it in Japan and had like Asian American actors in it, fucking, and it was crazy, like you said, bees in the back and all that, people made out of rock, fucking people who use electricity on strings and all this, fucking Ninja Scroll would be the one, to be honest. If they kept it fucking weird, and it's just like Jubei like fucking running about and that. Pretty much, you know what's weird in that movie? Yeah, he pretty much doesn't kill anyone with
yeah,
his sword.
yeah, he doesn't.
Well, he kills some ninjas with his sword, but like
Yeah.
the eight devils of Kimon, like
Mm.
he doesn't actually kill any of them. It's
No.
it's always something else that happens that means that they're defeated. That's fucking weird, that, isn't it?
Mm.
But yeah, I'd dig a Ninja Scroll if it was just him running about with his sword doing cool shit. That movie's cool, man. I fucking want to watch it now that I've been reminded of it. Fucking, but yeah, Ninja Scroll. Also, I'm gonna just say I'd want to see Wicked City as a live action movie. I know there was one back in like '92 or something like that, but I mean like a proper good one, like
Yeah.
Men in Black style or
Mm.
something like that. You know what I mean? But with like demons and all that, and none of the weird tits and all that. I'll leave that shit out. Just we can have some tentacles in there, but not going down anyone's throat because that shit was too weird, man. But yeah, I'd like to see Wicked City.
Yeah, man, definitely. But I disagree, man. You gotta keep all of that stuff. All the
Man,
the
that
women that turn
tentacle
into
bit.
spiders and shit.
I
Keep
don't
all of
mind
it.
that. The women who turn into spiders, that shit's cool because that's creepy in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
keep
tentacles, when tentacles come, I'm just like, nah, I'm all right, me.
yeah, man. Like hell, if Twin Peaks can do weird, then why the hell not do Wicked City weird? Yeah, man, I'd definitely do Wicked City live action. So yeah, those are ones you can definitely put to the bank for us, man. We'll make it happen, Hollywood. Make it happen. All right, man. Well, that's it. We've kind of pretty much come to the end of the show. Before we wrap things up, let me do a couple of big ups and shout outs as well. To all of you who are listening to this, of course, thank you very much for listening. We appreciate the support. If you like what we do, let us know. If you know people who would be interested in listening, then tell them about us, pass it on. The links are up everywhere. And before I go, as I said, I'll let you know how you can interact with us on social media and through email and stuff. But I want to give a couple of big ups as well to some people who've really been kind of been fucking with us for a long while now, and have really been pushing us forward as well. So some big ups to Miss L, aka Coco Brit. Shout out to the Broken Elevator podcast as well. Kung Fu Driving podcast. Big up to the Basement Condition. Those guys have really pushed us hard as well. Thank you very much. Nightmare on Film Street, the Crazy Town, big up to Glenn and her podcast as well. Love your show, guys. Keep doing your thing. Open All Powers podcast, Beardo and a Weirdo Talk Film, Just in Time podcast, PTO podcast, Kenna and Jay, Jay Del Negro from By Chance podcast as well is dope. The Podcast Brothers, Work with Kids, Talk It Out podcast, and the Drunken Dorks as well. So yeah, thank you to all of you. If I've missed anybody, I'm sorry. I was writing this really quickly, so please forgive me. Um, and also to some of our regular listeners as well, thank you very much for messing with us. We know you listen to us each and every week, and we really appreciate it. As said, in particular, I want to give some big ups to my boy David. Thank you for listening along, bro. We appreciate it. Thank you to Graceful Viking as well. She always listens in every week. Thank you to Yellow Rage Attacks as well. She always listens in. Thank you to George. Thank you to Daniel. Thank you to all the people who always kind of listening in and feeding back to us as well when you listen in. That's great. We appreciate that. Before we wrap things up as well, let me just quickly plug Mayamada's gamepad event. They've got an event coming up in September. It's going to be absolutely dope, and we're definitely going to be there this time. We were due to go to last one, didn't quite happen, but we're going to be there. What is Gamepad? You're asking. It's a social gaming event. We're going to have details coming up on the blog very soon for that, so look out for that. And we'll also have Nigel and hopefully Lau from Mayamada here on the show with us in a couple of weeks' time to give some more details as well about what they're doing with that. But it's really dope. So yeah, go and check them out. You can head to their website mayamada.com and find out loads of information about what they're doing there. And also a big up and a quick plug for my boy Jed Shepherd. He's written a movie called Dawn of the Death, which is a short horror film. If you're a fan of horror films and you love to support independent films and especially British independent films, then this is what you should be doing. So you can go and check that out. It's on Vimeo at the moment. So head on over to Vimeo and search for Dawn of the Death, and you'll find it there. Also, you can check out Jed on social media as well. Just type in Jed Shepherd, and you'll find him on Twitter, especially. So hit him up and holler at him if you watch the movie. And that's it. Alf, anything you want to plug quickly before we go?
Eh, well, just the usual. The Twitter and Instagram at BigA85GL. There you can find all my mental musings. And yeah, if you want to check out the YouTube, you can if you want. No biggie. Yeah, and there's regular content on there, which I'm doing now at least once a week. So yeah, give that a gander if you want.
Yeah, man, go and check it out.
I didn't really
I
sell
saw
it,
you
did I?
did a video about Star Wars recently as well, which was quite interesting. I thought.
Did I?
Um, yeah, you did about the new show, Force. What's it called?
Oh, Forces of Destiny,
Forces of
which is just
Destiny.
an advert for
Yeah.
toys for girls. That's not even me insulting it. It is. They're like, the animation's cheap. It's not even a real series. It's a little web series. They're all like 2 minutes long. It's just so they can sell toys. It's a smart idea, but like people can't see it for some reason. That it's just an advert for toys.
Mm. Well, it is what it is, and that's what they do. I
Yeah.
mean, Hasbro made a bloody like ton doing that, didn't they, with Transformers?
But at least there's a full, real, legit series though. They couldn't even be asked doing that with this, which I think is a disrespect.
Mm, mm. All right. Well, listeners, go over to Alvin's channel, the Man Geek on YouTube, and check out those videos and let him know what you think as well. Um, as for us, well, we're everywhere now, so you can catch us on YouTube. Right here, of course, on YouTube at Wulong Talks. If you type that in, you'll find us. You can also get us via the audio podcasts on SoundCloud. We're available on Acast. We're available on iTunes and on Stitcher. So you've got no excuses now. So you can go in and find us wherever you look. Also, social media. I haven't been tweeting for a while, but I'm planning on picking that back up again. So follow us on Twitter at Wulong Talks. It's usually me who's doing all the tweeting, so just holler at me. I'm happy to, have a chat with you about any old thing, really. I'm bored. I don't have many friends, listeners, so help me out here. Um, Facebook, we've got our Facebook page, Wulong Talks Podcast. So if you use Facebook, you can find us there. Tumblr, we've got a Tumblr page as well, Wulong Talks. You can follow us there. You'll find links to our articles and things like that on there as well. And have I missed something else? Oh yeah, Instagram, of course. Yeah, so you can follow us on Instagram as well, at Wulong Talks. Okay, I think that's going to do it, man. So I'm going to head on out of here. Listeners, thanks a lot for checking us out this week. As said, make sure that you share this podcast with anybody else who's interested. If you're listening to us on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up. If you're listening to the audio podcast, like, share, subscribe, give us feedback. We love it all here. So let us know what's going on. All right, I'm out of here because my belly's been rumbling this whole podcast, and you probably heard it on the mic. So I need to go and eat something. So I'm gonna say goodnight, Alvin. Say goodnight.
Good night.
And we're out of here, man. Peace.